youth was getting started, but from what I understand, he was probably playing both at the same time, which is probably what a lot of the Aussie players back then did anyway, eh, JT?
Yeah, so what happened was he was a leaguey first and foremost, but he got scouted
Yes.
by some rugby private school to go and play rugby, so they paid with education. And that happens a lot of these days too over here with young kids that are spotted playing, rugby league. And one of them is our nephew, Reno Gerard, who's Shane and Anna Gerard's son. So he was signed by South Sydney as a 14-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
But he's gone on to play rugby union for Australia as a number 8. He's only 17, 18 now. So he's decided to stick with rugby.
Right.
So yeah, Wally Lewis was in a similar situation. Picked up by a private school, got his education, went on a schoolboy tour, I think, of the UK with the Australian schoolboys, and then after finishing on that tour, switched back to rugby league. So yeah, you can chop and change, and it's a beauty because the codes are fairly similar, particularly back. I'm not so sure at the forwards, but and if one doesn't work out, you can always go and try the other. And I guess the lure of rugby would be of union would be the ability to travel to more countries at this stage anyway. So and why not? I don't begrudge anyone making $1 if they've got the talents.
Absolutely.
And with these guys, it's only a small window, which can easily be closed by injury or loss of form. So good on them. Whichever code, mate, go for it.
Yes, and then of course he went on to become a rugby league legend, as he should be, because he certainly was. Well, one of the interesting things, especially in our region, in Gisborne in particular, this is what I found. I'm not sure about you, Ra, but a lot of the people here do tend to support Queensland, eh?
Yeah, and I think it's that. Well, for one, I think a lot of us love the way that the Queenslanders play their rugby, hard and physical. I mean, New South Wales can give as good as they get, but there's a certain attraction, and you just have to look at a lot of the names of some of the players, some of the greats, from Mel to Wally to, the list goes on. I mean, they're real sort of class acts and some of the greatest names in the code of league. But and the fact that they were the underdogs. I mean, we all love that being from a small place like here. I don't know too many people that don't like supporting the underdogs. It just makes it worthwhile barracking for a side. One thing I like watching a lot of those Aussie players is the fact I think we forget AFL is pretty huge over there, and a lot of them do play that as well. And you can see that in their style of play, whichever code they represent, rugby league or otherwise. They're good at jumping for the ball. They're good at the tackles and just good sort of reading the play. And when you throw those 3 different codes in the mix, like here in New Zealand, we've only essentially got the 2 if you throw it to soccer, but in more rugby and league. But over there, they've got like 3 or 4 football codes, but those are the main ones. I think is AFL and that sort of shapes the player. Their all-round ability.
Yeah.
That's why when I look at a lot of the Aussie footy players, they're actually quite a talented bunch. That's why we love league. It's just and it's still pretty hardcore, and may that long last because the PC police are out there and they're trying to shape the game and make it more user friendly and all that sort of crap and carry on. So let's hope we still get to see those big hits and the odd biff.
One of the names that, when you were talking about AFL there, and you'll know this name there, JT, Gary Jack. Now, I don't know whether he did play Aussie rules or anything, but the way he put his body on the line and the way he jumped for the ball, he certainly had that aerial ability, in my opinion. And also got other guys like maybe Gary Belcher. So you would remember those names there, eh, JT?
Yeah, and definitely Gary Jack played both. He played AFL, not to AFL level, but he played it as a kid.
Right.
And his son, Kieran Jack, is a premiership winner with the Sydney Swans.
Ah.
So, an AFL background in the Jack family. But, luckily for us, for our game, Gary chose rugby league. And, yeah, mate, he was a little suicide mission, that fella, when he was going up for the ball. It's like one of those Japanese pilots from back in World War II at Pearl Harbor. No thought for self-preservation, just up he went. And,
yeah.
And down with the ball more than... So, mate, Gary Jack, very good player. Gary Belcher, I'm not sure if he played AFL, but yeah, mate, there's a lot of crossover, particularly if you live in areas like a place called Albury on the New South Wales Victoria border. That's both codes here are reasonably strong. But up here in Queensland, mate, it's rugby league first and then daylight second. So so I can speak for what's up here. But there's a little pockets of AFL competitions. They've got the two sides, the Lions and the Suns. But most of the people that follow them are from other states like Victoria, and South Australia, WA. So yeah, mate, Gary Jack, legend of the game.
Now, what's interesting is I've been a Queensland supporter, for a very, very long time. And what's interesting, I don't know if it's interesting or not, but my son, he has followed, he's a New South Wales supporter. And the reason why is, I guess, is because, especially of late, New South Wales have been the absolute underdogs, especially over the last decade. JT, especially over the last decade, and I think that there are an undertone of young boys out there that just tend to like following the underdogs, hence why they're following New South Wales these days. At least that's what I'm finding, because a lot of my son's mates are pretty much in the same book. They're New South Wales followers because of the fact that they have been underdogs for such a long time. What do you reckon?
Well, I reckon the first thing you need to do, Keith, is get a DNA check on that son of yours. Or you need to go and get the Queensland parenting manual, mate. You left side down, you left the great state of Queensland down, Keith. But, there could be some merit in what you said. Although I disagree with the underdog thing, Queensland will always be the underdog, mate, because they make up less than 20% of eligible players in NRL. So from my point of view, and you look at the sides over the years, it's like a V8 supercar, that being Queensland, racing an F1 Ferrari, that being New South Wales, and somehow, I don't know how, but that supercar gets the line before the F1 car. So
true.
And they do it with bits and pieces of play. They pull guys from left, right, and centre. They pulled Alfie Langer out of England when he was about 48 years old to come back and he won the game for us in the series. So. Yeah, mate, we'll have a word to that young fellow of yours. Tell him Uncle Jason's going to come and boot his backside.
Now, there's been plenty of great games, certainly over the years, and intriguing series, haven't there? Over the years, it's just been. Oh, I don't know how to even describe what State of Origin is like. Really, AJT.
Oh, it's just. Especially for rugby league, it's probably the pinnacle, at this stage. Although I think the international game over the next few years will gain some traction to the likes of the Tongan boys sticking hard to their Tongan roots and opting to play for Tonga instead of in the Origin. So that's what it is. I think at the moment, the Origin is no disrespect to the Kiwis or the Englishmen. This is the 34 of the best players on the planet running around. So. That's gonna, like you say, get the juices flowing, and add in the other elements of teammate against teammate, and often that brings out the best too. They interviewed Jake Tawhiwhirangi, who plays for Manly and is playing for the Blues as well. And they said, if you see Daly Cherry Evans, you're going to sort of be not be so hard. As mate, if I see him on a representative, so that's his club teammate at Manly. But he said, doesn't matter. I've got a blue jumper on, and he's got a maroon one on, so he's the enemy. And yeah, mate, I just can't wait. Keith. Talking to you just made me get all fired
up. I'm sure it has. But yeah, I'm just I know a lot of people are really looking forward, and certainly the debutants, the debutants on both sides. Boy, they'd be really keen to get Wednesday going, eh?
Yeah, I'd imagine so, mate. They'll be trying to keep their nerves in check and the anxiety and all the rest of it, and hopefully the older blokes.
Yeah.
Actually, we haven't really mentioned this, but a couple of the Indigenous boys, led by Cody Walker and Josh Addo-Carr from New South Wales, are not going to sing the anthem, and now I see Will Chambers from the Queensland side is going to join in that little protest as well. So not sing the anthem. They don't feel it's a true representation of them as Indigenous people of Australia, which is, I understand their point. And, good on them for standing up for what they believe. And let's face it, it's a horrible bloody song anyway.
True indeed. Anyway, let's move on. Now, Ra, they're not your team, but obviously you were going for the Blues, who played last night. They were they they were able to. I wouldn't even say. I guess they were unlucky to draw. Yeah, they were unlucky to get a draw off the Bulls last night. Well, you could say that the Bulls were lucky to get a draw, actually, I suppose, but that's what it ended up as, 22-all. What do you reckon, eh?
Well, I was actually hoping that the Aucklanders would get a win, Keithy. I mean, they pretty much haven't got a heck of a lot to play for of sorts, and their last few seasons hasn't been nothing to write home about. So you'd think they'd come out trying to secure victory, but no doubt they'll be happy with a draw. It's better than a loss, as we know. And many big city fans would tell you from up that way is that they're so used to losing and not winning any titles or winning any accolades that they'll be happy with a draw. It's about as close to a win as they'll probably get, but would have been good if they'd secured a win. If nothing else for Leon, Rangi, McDonald, the coach, and a lot of those young players coming through. I still reckon that Blues team has got a lot of talent, but they've got to want to play together, and that's one thing that's been lacking the last few seasons with Auckland. They've had a huge amount of talented players, All Blacks, but they just haven't been able to gel as a unit, and some speculate that it's that Polynesian sort of unpredictability. There's no consistency, and it could well be because it's proven in their style of play that when they win they can win, when they lose, well, they lose badly. So they'll be happy with the draw.
Well, I don't think they will be happy with the draw, actually. The Bulls, I think, would be happy. Maybe. Well, yeah, true that, but obviously they would have wanted to win. They were going for the win. The Bulls are happy with the draw. I don't think the Blues are happy with the draw. Because for any South African team to come to New Zealand to get any points, really, they go away with any points. You've got to be pretty happy. And, the Bulls, they're lying second, I think. Yeah, they're lying second on the South African conference table at the moment. And you wouldn't believe this, but the team that's ahead of them, the Hagawaris, they're having one heck of a season this season, eh?
Yeah, well, it's no surprise. I've been watching their form the last few years, and, subtly they've been, taking some big scalps, and, it's been sort of going relatively unnoticed in terms of, the major rugby union public, but not so in Argentina. And, they're the sleeping giants because, like most South American athlete sports players, they get that fire in their bellies, and we've seen that in soccer. And they're actually pretty talented and gifted sportsmen. And it's starting to reap rewards in rugby. I reckon give them a few more seasons. They're doing well internationally as a country too. I think that they'll be taking the scalps of even more New Zealand teams, maybe like the Blues, for example.
Well, they weren't. They beat the Chiefs. I know that they beat the Chiefs, which was certainly something worth watching, I dare say. So the Chiefs, the Chiefs and the Crusaders. It's on tonight. They're the Crusaders obviously going to be going to Hamilton, getting ready to smash your Chiefs, eh?
Yeah, and as we've seen the Crusaders the last few games, travelling wise, they haven't been too flash. So no. The Chiefs, if they come out at the right frame of mind and wanting to sort of steal victory from the Red and Blacks, this could well be their chance, but they've got to want to, and you can't muck around with the Scrowshoots team, because if you don't take your chances, man, they'll just totally humiliate you. And let's hope they're not in that type of form and this weekend, because Reno will be a happy chappy if they come out and totally decimate the Hamiltonians. But it'll be a wait and see. But they have to be the favourites. But I'm going for the Chiefs, Keithy.
Now, the Crusaders, they had a tough game against the Blues. I mean, they won that game pretty well, relatively easy, at least for the Crusaders. But, this could be a different one. I can't see how the Chiefs are going to win against the